Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello and welcome to USA Global TV and Radio. My name is Caroline Heward and I'm known as the Harley Street Stress Expert. I'm also a TV host for several programs on USA Global TV and Radio. Our show today is Talking Heads and I'm an expert presenter in today's topic, which is, drumroll, manifestation secrets. And it's part of the Mind and Body Connection series. So let's begin. I always like to start off with a quote, and I looked for a quote that felt that it was right to set the scene for how this conversation is going to go today. And I found one by Mahatma Gandhi, and he said, "Your beliefs become your thoughts. Your thoughts become your words. Your words become your actions. Your actions become your habits. Your habits become your values. Your values become your destiny." That's pretty deep, isn't it? And when I started to look at this, it made me realize that this is absolutely the cornerstone of what I'm going to talk about today. Now, in 2024, we have, and I did a little bit of research, even though I'm very familiar with manifesting secrets and how to manifest, and I've been doing it for a long time, at least a couple of decades. I was curious as to what was out there. And there is a hell of a lot of conversation about manifesting. And I was quite surprised and at the same time pleased and at the same time alarmed about all the stuff that's there. And there's a lot of noise on the word manifesting. And one of the reasons for that is that it's become trendy. It's become something that people want to know because life is hard. Life has been very tough, especially in our recent times, especially in the last recent 4 years. And so people are looking, especially our younger people, they're looking for another way, a better way, a different way, a way that makes it a bit easier, a way to make sense of the chaos and the conversation around the doom and gloom. And I frequently reminisce to people because I was from a time, I grew up in the 70s, and I remember it being challenging and difficult. I remember being, even though I was young, that there were strikes, that people were rioting, that there were difficulties. And I remember that there was a way that the young people found to live in a better way and to find their harmony and to find their peace while the adults were having crazy, challenging times. And I do believe that that's what's happened this time. And so manifesting is very much a trending topic. So rather than be part of the trend and say all the things that they're all saying, I want to demystify, almost debug some of the things that people are saying, so that at least we get to a place where it's a bit real and a bit true. Now, I want to give you some understanding about how I've started doing manifesting. And I was manifesting from quite a young age, but didn't really realize what it was. And I trained with a number of people from the movie The Secret, The Law of Attraction. And when it was first released, and I think it was back in 2005 in America, and I didn't see it until 2007. I actually imported a copy because it was on the personal self-development, spiritual evolvement circuit. And I saw a client and she was questioning me, asking me if I had seen the movie. And I kept telling her, no, I hadn't. It was on my list and I needed to import it. And we went through, I was teaching her some practices and teaching her some ideologies and some ways to be and to enact in life that will get her what she was looking for. And little did I know, she came back to me a few days later and she said, here's the secret. Will you watch it? Watch it all weekend because I want you to see what you are doing. So I watched it and I was very surprised about how many examples and how many things that I said that were actually in that movie. I could have been part of the movie. As a consequence of that, I decided to train with some of the people from the movie. So I did some training with Dr. John DeMartini and did the breakthrough process with him, and he became one of my trainers and mentors. And I also trained with Dr. Joe Dispenza and became very good friends with him when he first came to the UK back in 2007. I also did some work with Dr. Joe Vitale, and they became my cornerstone for how I truly felt that it was right to show up and talk about manifesting in a much more appropriate way. And I also want to share with you that because I got to know these people very well and because they were my mentors, way back before social media was like social media is today, and way back before they were doing all their audios and YouTubes and writing all their books, I talked to them about what was behind The Secret. Because when you watch the movie, it's almost like you think about something, you cross your legs and your hands and your arms, and then suddenly it appears. And I just said, that just doesn't ring true. That makes it sound a bit of a mockery. And they each shared in their talks and in private conversations that they were all interviewed separately in that documentary, The Law of Attraction, The Secret. And each of them talked about the part that was action. And the producer of the movie, he edited out the part that they all talked about action, the activities that you do to get what you want. And I thought this was fascinating because it made sense to me that you can't just think about something and talk about something and then it appears, because it's just silly. It doesn't make sense. And I was really surprised to hear the backstory of the fact that it was so heavily edited, and the people that I trained with were all actually not very happy about the fact that those pieces of the action bit were edited out. And it was edited out because the movie didn't want it to seem a hard job. The person that was doing the movie wanted it to be easy, much more palatable, and much more embracing for people to become part of the movement. And so it was the bit that was missing, but what it did get is intense popularity. And this is what I want to talk about, because there are different bits that are missing from different ideologies and things that have been out in the media. And there's a lot of people that are talking about and writing about manifesting and the secrets to manifesting, and you've got this recipe, and it all sounds very convoluted. And I'm going to go down the route of woo-woo. Yes, I'm going to talk a little woo. And for some people that might be offensive because they want fact. I'm still going to give you factual stuff, but I'm also going to look at a little bit of woo too. And the reason for that is that we've got to look behind. We've got to look at the unconscious mind, the unconsciousness of the planet, and how things are created. So let's look at Einstein's formula, E equals mc squared. Now, I hated science and I hated anything to do with physics when I was at school, and it took me a long time to remember what that formula was. But I remember it now because it's meaningful and because it makes sense in terms of what I do. E, energy, equals mc squared. It was a formula proven by Einstein, so it's a science. And E, energy, everything is energy. It is the way it vibrates. So different things vibrate at different frequencies. So for instance, our body, our lower chakra, so the root chakra, which is at the base of the spine, vibrates at a lower frequency to our heart chakra, for instance, which is in our heart center. And a table vibrates differently to a human being. A property will vibrate differently in terms of its energy and its frequency in comparison to nature. So everything has a frequency, everything has a vibration. That is a scientific fact, and it's a formula. It's just that they vibrate at different speeds. So let's get a little more into this vibration. So even thoughts are vibration. So whatever we think has a frequency and a vibration. So if we're thinking negative things, if we're thinking about the fact that we feel sick or the world is in chaos, and really getting into the fear and the intensity of scarcity, that is a low frequency and a low vibration. And whatever frequency that we're resonating at will attract that same like frequency. So this is something to really bear in mind when you're looking at manifesting, because you can be wanting to attract the love of your life and attract a wonderful partner, your life partner, but then you don't love yourself. You don't even like yourself, and you don't do things that are meaningful for you in terms of your own internal happiness. How on earth do you think you're going to attract that life and that love partner? You will attract to the very frequency of how you're being, how you're thinking, and how you're behaving. And that very frequency that you are being is what you will attract in. I want to look a little bit deeper about this, because there's lots of stuff out there that says you just have to say things. You have to say positive affirmations, and then you'll be able to create stuff. It'll come into your universe. So if you're going around saying, I'm going to have the love of my life walk into my life right now, and you're feeling internally not loved, not liked, you're complaining about how you look, you're complaining about your environment, you're not happy, you're complaining about parts of your body, you're complaining about your neighbours, you're complaining and you are in a state of negative frequency, fear, scarcity, and in lack, you are then not going to attract that same vibrational person that you want. And the reason for that is that you might be saying, I'm ready for that life partner, that love partner to walk into my life and sweep me off my feet. But you're not behaving and being like you're ready. And this is key. It's fundamental, and it is, I would say, a secret to manifesting, because there's a lot of people out there that say you just have to keep saying the same thing for 30 days and then it will be. If there is no feeling and if there is no emotion behind what you are wanting to manifest, it will not manifest in the way that you want. And this is a problem because lots of people are struggling, and it is woo because people are saying, oh, well, there must be an easier way. I'm just going to keep saying the same thing for 30 days or 60 days, and then I'm going to have what I want, and I don't have to work for it. The universe, or call it what we will, source, the consciousness, whatever it is that you call it, will respond to your song. It will respond to what you're saying, what you're being, what you're thinking. And it's no good saying, I am ready to attract the love of my life into my life. And yet you're not feeling it. You're not feeling that you are in love with yourself. And the first way to move to finding that love partner or that person that's going to be your one, the one that is your life partner, you have to be in love, literally, with yourself. And I'm going to say that again. You have to be in love with yourself. Because if you don't love yourself, you won't emanate that love field. You won't emanate that love frequency. You will be in a place of need and lack. And in that lower vibration frequency, you will attract the same type of person that you are resonating at. And when you do attract those types of situations, events, circumstances, and people into your life, it's your feedback. So it's not about complaining, this person, that person. It's about seeing what's there and taking it as feedback, and then re-looking and retraining, rechanging and reframing what it is that you're being, thinking and behaving, so that you attract actually what you want. And so everything external to you, whatever is internal, whatever is going on inside you, is a direct representation. It shows up in your external world. So if you don't like what's showing up, you are in total control of changing it. And this is one of the best kept secrets because you are totally in control. It is not about sitting there and having all these Post-it notes with all these incredible affirmations. It's about being. Now, I did some very heavy duty work with Dr. Joe Dispenza when he first came to the UK. And he very much was in the space of, he would make us work in our meditations. He said, you don't lie down and do a meditation. He says, you're going to work and create your reality. And it was beautiful to work in that space because I created in my meditation exactly what I was looking for, exactly what I wanted. And the language is really important. If you are using negative language, then it's very difficult for you to create what you want. So many people will be saying things like, if you're wanting to get out of debt, for instance, they will say something like, I want to get out of debt. But the focus, the mind does not hear don't. The mind will hear the word debt. And the mind will then focus on the word debt. The mind does not hear the negative words. It doesn't digest or assimilate not or don't. And so the mind hears the word debt and creates more debt. And this is the fascinating thing, because the human behavioural is to generally focus on what we don't want. I don't want this and I don't want that. It's not the human natural to focus on what you want. It's usually looking at what you don't want. Now, when you were born, as a baby, everyone was born pure. Life happens, things happen. And when life and things happen, and we watch and we learn from our environment, and from the age of firstborn up until about 12 years old, we are taking in, one like a sponge, and we take in everything. And so as children, we digest, we copy, even though we might not understand what we're copying, and we become part of that environment. And then we learn. There's a lot of learnt behaviours without really understanding. And those learnt behaviours will then attract those circumstances, situations, and experiences. And this can be a demise. So let me give you, for instance, if there's a celebrity couple that are musicians, the children that they have will probably be very keen to learn an instrument, and they might even want to sing. And their parents and people around them won't stop them. They'll encourage it. And so the children of celebrities, singers, artists will probably be nurtured in that environment to sing, to perform, and to play instruments really easily. If you're in an environment where the parents are not musical or talented in terms of actress or actors or celebrities and having a skill in that way, then it will be very difficult, not impossible, but it'll be more difficult to actually achieve, and it'll be working harder. You will have to really work to attain what you want to attain, find the right teachers and the right environments. And this is another secret, that it's possible. Nothing is impossible. I have seen in front of my very eyes, young children play instruments, and they didn't even learn. They watched and they copied and they played. And that is because it is that easy when we don't get in the way of the mind. Now, let me give you some more insights in terms of looking at things that we shouldn't be doing to create the best possible outcomes. If you're saying can't and impossible, these two words imply that there is a belief of your inability to manifest those things in your life. And that belief, let me break belief down. Belief breaks down to be lie. And so belief can be whatever you believe it to be. And if you are thinking, I can't do that, this is going to be impossible, but then you've got this affirmation that you are a positive affirmation saying that you will create it, that your thinking behind it after you've said it is, oh, it's going to be impossible. But then you're saying this affirmation almost like parrot fashion. That's a technique. It's a strategy. That's not a practice. And it's very difficult to create from that space of it being a technique. So don't and not, as I mentioned before, if you're saying, I don't want to be in debt anymore, you're going to create more debt. I don't want to be broke means that you will create more brokenness. Try and hope. In the UK particularly, The Britishness of people is that we say try and hope a lot. And when you say try, it means that you're not sure. If you're using the word hope, you're unsure. And try and hope isn't good, proper language to create strong manifestations. And so what I mean by that is your words create your reality. As a child, I remember watching programs, children's programs, and there would be somebody with a wand and saying abracadabra. And they would wave this wand with the words abracadabra. I didn't know what it meant. And at the same time, it was magic. Abracadabra translates to, with these words, I create. With these words, I create. It's powerful, isn't it? With these words, I create. And so words are spells. So what words are you using in your everyday life? Now I'm going to bust another myth. We are all incredible manifestors. Yes, we are. We are creating, co-creating everything that we are thinking about. And we are responsible in terms of our thinking behind what we're creating. And generally, we are thinking about not great things, the negative things. And certainly in our today's current crazy times, there are people that are losing their homes. There are people that are sick. There are people that are struggling financially. And there are also winners in this time where they're doing really well and riding the high. So there are winners and there are people that are struggling and there are people that are surviving. So what's the difference between somebody that's struggling, somebody that's thriving, and somebody that's surviving? It's in our own belief structure, what we're feeling, thinking, and saying. And behind the thought, when we have a thought, it translates into an action. It translates into a feeling. And then that becomes the reality. It's important when you are manifesting to be unambiguous, to be non-contradictory. It's no good saying something like, I want to be mortgage free. But you know what? I'm not sure if that's going to be possible in today's times because the mortgage rates keep going up. I'm not sure if I'm going to sell because it's become more difficult. There are less people wanting to buy. And so this is where we get caught up in the negativity of the story, the narrative. And everything is an action towards creating what you truly desire. And so it's important to think about what you truly desire so that you can create exactly what you want. Now, when I was creating my home, my new home, and became mortgage free, I made a decision. And this is how easy it is. You make a decision. And it's also, I would say, an intention. My intention way back when I first bought my first property was I will become mortgage free before I am 60. It was very defined. It was very clear. I didn't know how. And that's the other thing. There's lots of things written and lots of things in videos telling you that you have to have a blow-by-blow step of how to do what next, what next, what next. That's when you're in the mind. And when you're in the mind wants to control everything. So I had no idea how I was going to become mortgage free. And I let go of the how. And this is crucial when you're manifesting, because when you are in the place of ego, So in the place of control and almost pushing yourself to get the result, it goes into a different space. And when you're in the space of ego, then you're in the mind and you're trying to work out what's the best route, what now? How do I go about this? How do I create this? And you will miss the opportunities that get presented to you because you're focused on how. The way to manifest is to decide what. And to really be clear, to be crystal clear, to be so clear that there is nothing that gets in the way of your what. And then decide that how you're going to be when you get it, how you're going to feel, what clothes are you going to be wearing, how are you going to sound, what words are you going to be saying when you have what you want to manifest, how are you going to feel, what emotions will you be feeling, what colours are you seeing, what people are in your reality at that time. Paint the picture, not how you get there, but paint the picture of how you are going to be, how it's going to feel. Are you celebrating with friends? Are you in a new relationship? Who are you celebrating with? And who's around you? What are they saying to you? And it's like an alternate reality. And it's very infectious because if you do this in a meditation, go through the feelings, the emotions, the elation, it moves you, mind and body, into a totally different space. The secret is so simple. It's to act as if you are already there. To act as if you are already in it. Rather than want it, need it, have to have it, must have it, all of those are low vibration words. Act as if. Feel that you already have it. And when you already have it, your universe will conspire. Everything will conspire to bring that to you. It's quite magical, really, and it's very powerful. And I remember when I was moving along the lines of becoming mortgage-free, everything in my being was working towards being mortgage-free, letting go of the home that I was in and reaching out for the new home that was everything that I was looking at, wanting it to be. And in that space, even in times of challenge, when I couldn't find the right home, everything that was not meant to be disappeared. Everything that was not going to be part of that manifestation that I wanted to create disintegrated. And what came into reality was the only thing that conspired to create the manifestation that I wanted to create. And when I got here, I still had some work to do. But when I got here, I realized I had done the biggest thing in my life. And when I first bought my first property, I did it within 6 weeks, and I was told by lots of people, impossible. That was their language, not mine. And it's about knowing. It was an inner knowing that I knew it was already mine. I was already there. The how traps us. If you try and work out how and work out all the steps, it's impossible because you are limited by your beliefs and you are limited by your imagination. So let go of the how and let in your imagination. Decide what it is that you want and have it all in the positive rather than in the negative. Couch your affirmation and your decision in the positive, just like I did. I will become mortgage free before I am 60. And on the back of that, I also said, I will be living in a 3-bedroomed, large house with high ceilings, all high ceilings, a period property, and a feature fireplace with wall sconces and gates at the front of my property with a nice big forecourt and a lovely back garden with an archway. And have a guess what? When I walked into the property that I decided to buy, that's what it was. And I didn't work out how. I didn't even decide the place. In fact, when I kept on trying to say this location, that specific location, it didn't work. When I let go of the location, the property became a part of my reality. And this was where I was forcing something. And this is what we do when we force something, when we try to push something, it's very difficult. I also want to talk to you about action. As long as there is action, you are taking actions towards creating your reality. You are co-creator. So what actions are you taking to create and manifest your reality, manifest your dream? And if your reality is showing things that are not as good as what you want and is showing you the negative, what is it that you are focused on that is creating into your reality? What is it that you're thinking and creating? Now, we're all human and we're all in challenged times in different ways. And in these challenged times, it's about how we overcome them. And because we're human, there is a human collective consciousness. And there is a human collective consciousness frequency of low vibration, scarcity, chaos, challenge. And it's very easy to get swept up into the craziness and the chaos of what's around. And my invitation, and it is just that, it's an invitation, is to switch out of the regular media so you don't get consumed. Be aware, be knowledgeable without getting sucked into all of the dramas of everything that's being said. To be aware is to be informed without getting drawn into all the activities. And to be in awareness and yet coming from a different place, coming from your belief structure. Remember, belief breaks down to be lie. And if you are in fear, fear breaks down to false evidence appearing real. And that is a saboteur of the root chakra. And when you're in the saboteur of the root chakra, that affects your groundedness, that affects your stability, your finances. It also affects the way that you can create in your life and your right to be here. And so it's very important to be grounded, to create, to manifest into your reality. And being in a place of gratitude, when you move into a place of gratitude, even for small things, when you are in that place of the altitude of the vibration of gratitude, it brings more of what you want into your life. It might sound a little crazy to be grateful for small things, like the sun's come up this morning. I've woken up and I can hear the birds singing. But it changes your state of beingness when you are in a state of gratitude. And gratitude resides in the heart chakra, which is a much higher vibration than being in scarcity. When you wake up in the morning, to raise your frequency and raise your vibration, walk into the bathroom and look into the mirror and smile. It takes less energy to smile than it does to frown. Look at your inner conversation, your inner dialogue, and your inner thoughts. And if you are focused on everything that's not working and looking on the dark side of things, have a guess what? You are going to create and move into that space of creating the negative things that you are thinking about. So my invitation to you is to watch your language, watch your thoughts. And I'd like to finish with a quote from Lao Tzu. And it's very much along the lines of the quote that I started with. Watch your thoughts. They become your words. Watch your words. They become your actions. Watch your actions. They become your habits. Watch your habits. They become your character. Watch your character. It becomes your destiny. Manifesting secrets. It's about you, and you can create your reality. Nothing is impossible. It's only limited by your imagination. It has to be realistic. It has to be realistic in terms of what you believe is possible for you to create. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much for listening into this episode. It has been my pleasure to demystify the secrets of manifesting. Please do subscribe to USA Global TV and Radio. And please do reach out if I can be of service to you. You can find all my Talking Heads episodes on USA Global TV and Radio under Caroline Heward. Please do reach out to me if I may be of service to you. You can find me and email me at nomorestress@live.co.uk or call me on +44 0 7523 120 189. I look forward to helping you create your reality. Namaste.